Hello, welcome to A Tinge Ginge. Today I'm going to be showing you how I deal with my eggs that are sort of going on a bit of a turn, have a little bit of mould and just don't look that great. I've got one egg that is from my banana het clown to my clown. One of the eggs is starting to turn, it's got a little bit of mould on one side, and then on the top side there's a bit of yellowing discoloration. It is actually leaking a little bit now. There's a couple of things you can do to try and save the egg. I have candled it. I'm not too confident I am going to be able to save it, but it's one of those things that if you don't try then you won't know. So you've got to try and do everything you can just to try and save that egg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I do these eggs. There's a few videos out there on how to deal with them, and that's where I basically got my information from, and that's how I've always dealt with eggs that look like they're starting to go too bad. If you do follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I have lost one egg already. The other eggs all seem completely fine, and I didn't really get a chance to film it because the egg was so far gone that I thought there's no point in trying to save it, and I didn't record it, I just threw it straight away. So I thought instead of throwing this one away straight away, I thought I'm going to give it a fighting chance and see if I can try and save it and show you how I actually deal with the eggs. So let's jump straight into it. So like I said, this is my banana clown clutch. You can see it was just a straight clown female bred to my banana 100% het clown. I did have 6 eggs, 0 slugs, and they were due to hatch on the 8th of July. So they're not a million miles away, but it's sort of around this time that you would expect the eggs to go bad. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, you try and do everything you can to try and make everything as spotless as possible, try and make the odds as low as possible of losing an egg, but sometimes Mother Nature just kicks you in the arse and you just can't deal with it. Basically, there's nothing you can do to stop it. So that is one of the unfortunate things in this hobby. But you just got to remember that with every low there's always a high. So even though we have lost an egg, I'm still pretty confident that we are going to hit on that banana clown, hopefully. So then we're going to do is we're going to quickly open the tub up, we'll have a look at this egg, and I'll show you what I mean by I think it's probably a little bit too far gone, but we're going to give it a shot and try and save it anyway. So if you've seen my previous videos as well, you know how I prepare all my eggs and get them set up in the egg boxes. So here are the eggs, and you can see 5 of them are absolutely perfect, and then this is the one that is starting to go bad. So you can see it has dimpled in a little bit. You've got the discoloration there, and there was some fluid leaking out there. It looks like there's a little bit of a window just on the side there as well. I don't believe that was there before. And then on this side you can see just down there is a little bit of moulding on the edge of the egg. So if an egg does start to mould, sometimes it's not necessarily a bad thing. You can leave it and sometimes get away with it, but for me, as soon as I see something like that happening, it's normally best to jump straight in now. You know, I don't mess with my eggs. When they're in the incubator, I basically just leave them alone. I will check in through the side of the incubator because I do use a vivarium for my incubator, so I can see pretty much all the way in. This egg here is in the back corner, so from the angle that it sits in the incubator, this is how it is in the incubator. If I'm looking in, you can't see that mould at the back at all. It was only when I looked in today and I saw this yellow discoloration that I actually got it out and had a proper look at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one egg out, and I'm going to show you how I deal with these eggs and try and give them the best possible chance of surviving. I'm going to quickly candle it as well, just so you can see the difference between a good egg and an egg that is starting to turn. I do believe this is probably too far gone, but it's, again, you've got to try every opportunity and just see if you can actually save them. So I'll quickly show you that now. So I'm going to try and give you the best view possible. Hopefully it will focus. If I shine the light on here, so you can see there we've got some good veins. I'm pretty happy with that egg. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have any problems with that. I think the embryo just moves a little bit there as well. And again, if we go through all the eggs, you can see some decent veins there, lovely veins. Over to this egg, you can see we've got very strong veins on there, and we've got some good veins there. So if we now compare that to this egg, I'm pretty confident that we're not really going to see much at all. Just trying to get the light in the best way possible that you might be able to see something. But as you can see, whichever way I put the torch on there, it's not really great. Oh, actually, we do, if this camera will focus, we do have some veins there. So it doesn't look like it's completely gone, but we're going to do everything we can possibly. I mean, I'm going to get this egg out and try and give you a better look, but those veins, they don't look as red as I'd like them, they look quite dark. But yeah, we'll get this out and we'll have a look. Right, so that's the egg out. If I shine the light away, you can see just how bad the mould on that side has gotten. This was actually the little boob egg we had out of that clutch as well, so maybe that was the reason that it didn't survive. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna put this on here and just try and get a better view of the egg, just to see if we can see any veins. To be honest, I'm not really seeing anything. There are some veins that we saw on the top, so there is something there, but they're not, the veins aren't that strong, to be honest. They look quite shrivelled up and they're quite dark. They're not as bright as the veins that we saw on these eggs. So yeah, I'm not 100% hopeful, but I'm going to give it a go and try and save it the best I can. So I'm going to get the lights on and I'll start showing you what I'm going to use. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be using some PVA glue just to try and seal this egg where it's leaking. So around these yellow areas, that's where there was some fluid leaking out of the egg, and you've got that's like a window there. That's the area where the PVA is leaking out. So I'm probably going to cover the majority of this egg in PVA glue, just because there are some spots on the side there as well. I just want to basically seal this up as much as possible, just to try and give it that best fighting chance. And all that's going to do is it's going to stop that liquid from leaking out, and also it's just going to stop any infections from maybe getting inside the egg. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And then to try and cut down this mould on the side, I'm going to wipe that off, and then all I'm going to use with that is just some antifungal foot powder. It works really well for getting rid of mould on eggs. It sort of dries it out and it just sort of kills that bacteria off. So that's what I'm going to put on that side. So I'm going to get the camera set up and just start getting all this done. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I need to put another glove on. Oh my god, 20 pairs of gloves later and I finally get it on. Oh, that took so much more effort than it should have. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I want to try and get rid of that mould that is on the side of the egg. So I'm just going to use some paper towel. I just want to have a look at that area. So yeah, you can see, if I can get the camera to focus, you can see that area. It's quite badly moulded, part of the boob egg there. So it's not gone too bad. I think I've probably caught it a little bit too late. I probably could have caught it a bit sooner, but like I said, I didn't see the discoloration on the egg until I had a closer look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move all of this off. Try not to spread that fungus around the egg, basically. And we've got some red, I'm not too sure what that is, never seen that before. But all I want to do is I want to try and get as much of that fungus off as I can, dry it out the best I can, and then apply that athlete's foot powder onto it. So I'm basically just going to keep brushing all of this away, checking all the way around. I'm going to get some of this vermiculite off as well, because that's just going to help me see the rest of the egg. There's no mould around the boob part, which is brilliant. So I'm just using a new bit of tissue each time, and all I'm doing is I'm just trying to scrape off. So you can see I've got the majority of that fungus off now. So that's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to chuck all this to the side, get a new bit of tissue. Now to stop this powder from going everywhere, what I'll do is I've just got like a little plant pot tray thing here, and I'm going to use that just to pour the powder over, just so it catches anything, because this will just go everywhere. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some of that on. Doesn't matter if you get this over the egg, it's not going to do anything to the egg and cause it any harm. I just want to try and get as much on there as I can. I'm going to sort of massage it in, so if there is any damp spots, then that powder's just going to attach to that damp spot, and it's just going to help kill off any of that mould. And I'm going to go in quite a wide area just to make sure it is all covered and protected. You can see the egg's almost turned back white again, and that's just from rubbing that powder in. Now I'm doing the powder first, because if I put the PVA glue on and then put the powder on, the powder's just going to stick to the PVA glue, and it doesn't matter if that happens, to be honest, but I'd rather be able to see if the yellow areas are actually sort of spreading. So if you put PVA glue on, then put the powder on, the powder's going to create that white film, and you're not going to be able to see those areas where the yellowing is. So I've got a nice good thick coat on there now. I'm happy with that. That's brilliant. I'm really happy with that. Covered that whole area. I'm just going to take a look on this side. And you can see it does actually go, you see that window area goes all the way around the boob part of the egg, just there. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to put some powder onto that as well. Now this is one of the reasons why I do separate my eggs. If you do ever have anything go bad like this, then it's always good to try and isolate this egg from the others. And if it is already separated, then it just means you're going to catch it a little bit quicker and stop that mould from spreading anywhere. So that's a good benefit of separating your eggs. Not that you have to, but it just helps out in the long run. If this was attached, then you'd have to fart about taking those eggs apart, and you never know, you could end up spreading some of this mould onto another egg and possibly losing that egg as well. So, but each their own. In the day, you can do whatever you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable with is the best thing, whatever you feel most confident with. So I've got a nice coating of that powder everywhere now. I'm pretty happy with that. The egg basically looks brand new, so that's brilliant. So I'm going to put this tub to the side. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some PVA glue. I'm going to pour that into another little tub, and then I'm just going to use my finger and I'm going to smear that all over the yellow parts of that egg. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a look at the egg, and I'm going to see where all the yellow areas are. So the yellow areas are sort of round here, sort of comes around to here, and it does go underneath. What's that we've got there? I don't know if that's mould. I think that could be a little bit of mould there actually. So before we do anything else, I just want to try and get that little bit of mould off as well. Put some of that powder on. So this is why it's important you check your eggs. Now I'm not saying you need to pull each egg out and check them individually, but it's always good just to keep an eye on your eggs, and if something doesn't look right, then it is always worth just going in and having a closer look just to make sure everything's okay. So you can see where I've got the circle, this is where it's facing upright, and that mould is on the bottom. So if you didn't have any signs of the eggs going bad, you'd never be able to check that because you wouldn't even know it was there. So I'm just going to roll this in that powder, trying to be as careful with the egg as I can, because at this stage it probably is a little bit fragile and I don't want to chuck it about too much. So I'm just going to get a nice coating of powder underneath there as well. That's it. Okay. So that's all sound. Right. So now I'm just going to check where all those areas are that are discoloured and yellow, and I'm just going to start to apply the PVA glue. Just give this a quick mix, make sure there's nothing separated. And all I'm going to do is, using my finger, is I'm just going to paste that all over those areas that look a little bit worrying. Now it is PVA glue, so it will take a little bit of time to set. So the thinner the layer you can put on, the better really. You don't want it dripping everywhere and causing a mess. So, and as long as you don't cover the entire egg in it, you should be fine with the egg being able to breathe, because it does absorb oxygen through the shell. So as long as you're not covering the entire egg in PVA glue. Oh no! That could have been terrible. But yeah, as I was saying, as long as you don't cover the entire egg in PVA glue and it has got some shell that is actually showing, then the snake inside should be completely fine. It should still be able to absorb that oxygen. So, oh my goodness, I need to get a better tripod. Okay, are we back? Are we okay? Are we safe? Yeah. So I've got a nice layer all over the egg. I'm pretty happy with that. Don't think there's any areas that I've missed, and all I'm doing now is I'm just trying to make sure it's a nice thin even layer over those areas. So I'm just going to scrape along just to try and take any of the excess glue off. It's a good thing it's warm in this room. I'm absolutely sweating buckets. So yeah, I'm not too worried about keeping this egg out of the incubator for too long, just because my room is pretty warm. I think it's it's sort of 84, 85 degrees in here, ambient temperature, so yeah, it does get quite hot and sticky in here at times. So what I've done is that's all been coated. I'm just going to give this a few minutes just to dry. I'm going to take these gloves off just because I've been handling this egg. I don't want to sort of risk touching anything else and passing that on, so I'm never going to get a pair of gloves back on now. It's going to be impossible, so I'll probably just use my hand, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just use a glove. But yeah, so I'm just going to give that a few minutes. I'm going to fan it as well, just to try and get that glue to sit a little bit quicker. Because obviously once it goes back into the box and into the incubator, obviously the humidity in that box is going to sort of slow it down from drying that little bit quicker. So I just want to try and get a quick set on the glue, just to try and make it as more efficient as possible, really. Right, so I'm happy with the way that's turned out. What I'm going to do is, before I put it back in the box, the next thing I want to do is I want to separate this egg from the other eggs. Just if this does start to go completely bad and everything goes completely wrong with it, I just want to lower the risk of it passing that mould or whatever it is onto the other eggs. So here's the other clutch. Again, I'm going to try and put a glove on. I should really get some talcum powder, but it's fine. So what I want to do is I want to try and move all these eggs up, and I want to try and keep them away from this area, which is where the egg originally was, because obviously if anything that was on the egg, it's now going to be on the substrate as well. So I just want to try and shift all these eggs over the best I can. Bloody gloves. And while I'm here, I'm just going to test to see what the humidity is like, and I can pinch that, and I can actually feel that the vermiculite is moist. I can sort of take a bundle of it and it does clump together. So it's clumping together, so that's just showing me that the humidity in there is still fine, and I'm still getting the condensation on the side, so that's absolutely brilliant. And you see they're nice full eggs as well. There's no indentation or anything like that. They've still got a few weeks to go yet before they do hatch, so everything's showing me that they are pretty much spot on, ready to go. So I've not touched the substrate around where that egg was. I've just left that area because I don't want to disturb it, and I don't want to risk dragging it over to the other eggs. So now that I've moved them all over, I'm pretty satisfied that this egg has got a good sealing on it for now. I'm just going to place that back in there like that, and there we go. That's how we're looking. So you can see that's the dodgy egg there. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not too hopeful about it. I think I have caught it just a little bit too late, but it doesn't look too extreme. There are some slight veins there, so maybe this will help and give it a kick booster and perk it back up, but I don't know. And if it does survive and make it full term, whether that baby is going to come out fine or not, I really don't know. So it's just something we're going to have to wait for until these eggs do hatch. I probably could put some of that foot powder on the actual substrate around it, but I did have a quick look and I couldn't see anything on the substrate. I think it was just on the egg, but I've put enough stuff on there at the minute that I'm happy with that, so I will just keep an eye on it. But yeah, all the other eggs are looking absolutely perfect. This is probably my most anticipated clutch because I've been wanting to hit a banana clown for ages, so I'm really hoping the odds gods are going to be in my favour, and one of these 5 eggs, maybe 6, is going to give me one. If I do hit a banana clown on this clutch, depending on how many I hit, but to be honest, all the bananas that come out of this are probably going to be male unless I get extremely lucky. So as long as I hit one banana clown, the rest will probably be for sale, and also my banana het clown male will also be for sale. So if you are interested in getting into the banana clown combos, then make sure you pay attention to my Instagram and my YouTube, and you never know, you could be getting something for a pretty decent price. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, I've done enough to try and save this egg. Well, time will only tell. So that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope this little bit of information has helped you out. If you do have any eggs that look like they're taking a bit of a turn for the worst, then hopefully you can sort of use the techniques I've done today, and it will just give your eggs a better chance of survival. Now I'm going to try and make this super quick because I feel like the witch out of Wizard of Oz. I'm absolutely melting. The sweat is pouring off me. if I could do it half naked, I would, but there's just a chance that you might catch clip something you really don't want to see. It's been a really hard video to do, to be honest, from nearly losing my camera a couple of times to just going through about 100 pairs of gloves. It's been an absolute nightmare, so I really do need to invest in a cameraman to help me out. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it is beneficial to you, and you can take something from it and put it to your own sort of, with your own clutches, and anything you have any problems with, hopefully it will help you out. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget, I've got 5 days left, well, from the date that this gets posted. Or when am I going to post? This is probably going to be posted maybe Wednesday. My clutch for my butter spinner blast to my leopard starvey, I will be cutting that. It's due to hatch, or due to pip, on the 19th of June, so make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss that. There's going to be some absolutely mental combinations coming out of that. There could be like 6-7 genes in a single animal, and I'm just not going to have a clue what is going on, so I'm really going to need a lot of help from people. So make sure you are subscribed, make sure you follow me on Instagram at @tingerginge, and make sure you don't miss this content coming up, because I've got quite a few decent clutches that are just going to absolutely blow your mind if I hit what I want to hit. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to put gloves on for this just because I don't want to be spreading anything, but yeah, putting gloves on with moist hands is just, it's impossible. Right, let's get this again, have a closer look.